Hello everyone, this is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome to my monthly 3D Thursday class. I'm going to give it a few seconds for everybody to join in before I get started. Welcome everyone. So just a few things before I get started. My hostess code for the month of May, and we still have a few more weeks left. If you use this code with a $50 order or more, you'll earn some free products from me. So you just need to enter this code as you check out. The new catalog has been reaching some mailboxes today, I heard. So if you are not local to me, I ordered some of these new catalogs for my customers. They have started arriving, so be patient. And for those of you guys that are local to me, I'm hosting an open house, and you guys will be able to pick yours up at the open house. You should have received an invitation already. Now, what else do I have before we get started? My door prize for the month of May. For anyone that places orders, your name will be entered to win the Just Because stamp set. And this does include all of my paper pumpkin customers. And lastly, this is my free card kit for the month of May. Anyone that places orders with me online, any size order, you will receive all of the pieces you see here. And these are all from new products in the new catalog. So you'll get everything but the stamp sentiment. You'll have to stamp your own because we're not allowed to include stamp sentiments in our kits. So this is my free card kit for the month of May. Okay, so tonight is my 3D Thursday. Hello everyone, I can see you all chiming in. So tonight I am focusing on the Garden Impressions designer paper. This is still available in the current catalog. You can see that all of the designer papers have flowers on them. And there's 48 designs or 48 sheets that are 6x6. If you're interested in buying this set, it will retire on May 31st. And the item number is 146289. Let me just flip them over on this side. So these are all like abstract. I'm trying to spread them all out so you can see them all. This is beautiful paper. So like I said, if you're into flowers, this is a nice package of designer paper to purchase before it sells out. So let me bring in, so I have two projects for tonight that coordinate. First, I'm going to bring in the little mini card. I've done the flap of the envelope. I've done the little 3x3 card. And my box, this is called a 3D fold over box. This is what it looks like. I'm going to open up the ribbon, untie the ribbon, and the box opens up this way, and then this is glued to the base of the box. So I'm going to show you how to do that tonight. So let me go ahead and show you all of the supplies. Now, because I wanted to mix this up a little bit, the sheet that I used for this set was this one here. You can see this is a partial sheet. Tonight, I'm going to do a blue box. So I'm going to be using this pattern. And the flowers are going to be different. So let me bring in all of the layers. I'll go through them one at a time. I'm using Pacific Point ink, tear and tape, bone folder. I have a spritzer with alcohol, rubbing alcohol, because I'm going to show you a technique that I'm using for a different type of flower on this box. The sentiment I'm using is the Oh Darling, You Are Fabulous from the Stitched All Around stamp set. And I've got some punches, 2 1/4 circle, 1 1/2 circle, 1 inch circle, and the leaf punch. And now for cardstock, I'm using Pacific Point, and we need 4 pieces. This one measures 7 by 7. We need 2 pieces measuring 4 by 6 and 1 piece measuring 4 by 4. For designer paper, I've got 3 pieces. Let me bring these out. 3 that measure 4 by 4. I'm actually going to use 1 on the blue side and 2 on the flowered side. I have 1 3 by 3, and then I have 4 that measure 3.5 by 2. So you can see we have a lot of designer paper. Now these are all for the box. The card itself is actually 6 by 3 scored in 3, and that's going to be the mini card with the envelope. And then we have a 3 by 3 to coordinate with the box on the designer paper. We're going to do this later. Now, because my flowers are different on this, I'm going to do that first because I'm using rubbing alcohol. It's going to need to dry a little bit. So let me bring in some scraps. And I'm going to show you what kind of flowers I'm making for this box. These are little scrunched up flowers. I'm going to see if I can get it close up there for you. There's a brad, a metallic brad in the center. And then this is the polka dot ribbon that we're going to be using on the box. And I have 26 inches cut up ahead of time. So what I want to do is show you how I made these flowers, because we're going to need to let that one dry, the one that I'm going to make. So I'm using Pacific Point and the 1-inch circle punch, Balmy Blue with the 1.5-inch circle punch. And now let me bring in a towel. And all I'm going to do is spritz this down with rubbing alcohol just to wet them. I'm actually going to scrunch on both of them. Okay, so these look like spitballs. You remember spitballs and the boys in high school? That's what these look like. Now I'm going to open them up, put a hole in the center. So these are easy, and you can do these with any size circle punch. So I'm going to add the brad in the middle. And then what I did is I spritzed it again just to re-wet because it does dry fast. And because they've already been scrunched, I'm just going to shape them by pinching until you're happy with the way it looks. And you can see all 5 flowers look different. So I'm going to set this aside to dry, and we're going to move on to the box. So that's an easy way to make a flower. Okay, let's bring everything in. I'm also going to go ahead and I just have 2 sentiments to stamp tonight. So I'm going to do those right away just to get them out of the way. So, oh darling, you are fabulous. And that's going to be cut out with a 2 1/4-inch circle punch. And I'm going to line this up so it's at the very top, because we're going to add the flowers around the bottom. Okay, so that's all the stamping we're doing tonight, just 2 sentiments. Now let's get ready to go ahead and do the box. So now I'm going to show you how to do the bottom of the box and do the score lines. So we're going to start out with the 2 pieces that measure 4 by 6. And we're going to score at 4. Now I am going to be using tear and tape on the box only because there's a lot of movement and you don't want your box to fall apart. So I'm going to go ahead and fold on both score lines. And then I'm adding 2 pieces of tear and tape to the 2-inch section that folds over. Now, where's my, okay, here's my piercing tool. I'm just gonna peel off the backing. And then this is the 2-inch section. We're going to take the other 2-inch section and glue those together. So this is what your box looks like when you glue those on top of each other. Now, let me bring in my designer paper. So what I'm going to do is start decorating that. This is going to go this way. This is my top. So I'm going to start gluing sections on the top. I want to use the flower design first. So that's going to go right on the Pacific point. And then what I want to do is glue the opposite pattern. Oh, wait a minute. Oh no, I didn't cut these right. I cut these too short. Okay, I'm going to keep going. I gave you the wrong measurements. These actually should have been 4 inches long, and I cut them at 3.5. You know what I was doing? I was going by the, one of the squares that I cut off. Okay, now this portion here is going to go on the underneath. So this will be the bottom panel. I don't have time to cut out new ones, so I'm just going to keep going. Okay, so you have the designer paper on the top and then on the bottom. Next, we're going to flip this over to the inside. And what I did is I coordinated the cardstock up top and on the bottom with the same pattern. So we're going to use the flowered pattern. The box is just going to look a little different is all. Now, let me make sure I don't need to trim anything. Everything looks good. Okay, now, oh, I've got one more piece to glue. Again, this should have been 4 inches long and not 3.5. I think it's still going to work. We're going to be okay. Okay, now, so this is the inside and this is the top. So now I want to finish with the top. This is where the Pacific Point 4-inch by 4-inch square is going to go on the top. And I'm going to center that. Next is going to be the designer paper that measures 3 by 3. Let me see, I need some stamping dimensionals. This one is raised. And that's going to coordinate with the other pattern, the other side of the pattern. So that's going to go right on top like that. And then that's where one of the sentiment comes into play. We're going to add that to the front also on the top. And then I'm going to let the flower finish drying before I finish off the rest. Okay, so that's, I'm going to leave that there for now. Now, one more thing I want to do is add some tear and tape right in the center. And this is where we're going to glue the ribbon down. And what I did with my ribbon, 26 inches, I am actually folding this in half. And I'm going to find the halfway point and then just go across. Okay, so now I'm going to form the box. This is all set for now. So let me bring back my scoring tool. And this is the 7 by 7 inch piece. We're going to actually score that at 2 inches all the way around. So this kind of looks like a huge tic-tac-toe board. Now what I'm going to do is these score lines right here, I'm going to start at the end and stop at the first score line. And then these are going to be tabs. So I'm going to cut off just a little sliver to angle them. I'm going to do the same on this side. So we need to do that 4 times. So let me put it down so you can see where I cut off the angled portions. Same thing on this side. So for you guys that love to make 3D projects, this really is an easy project to make. It looks complicated, but it really is not. There's only a few score lines and a few cut lines. Now I'm going to fold on all score lines, and then we'll form our box. Okay, so there's the box. Before I glue it together, okay, where is... Okay, I have... Hold on a minute. I have a piece of designer paper missing. So we need, I put one on the bottom here just to make a nice liner for the box. And so you'll need another piece that actually measures 3 by 3. And that's going to go on the bottom. And now I'm going to add tear and tape to all of the tabs. If I can find my end piece. Well, where is my end piece? Oh, right there. So I'm just going to put 2 pieces. I like to use tear and tape when I create 3D projects only because if there's a lot of movement to your project, you don't want it falling apart. So it's best to use the tear and tape. If any of you guys still have some of the fuse glue, the adhesive that we used to have, you can use that too. That works really well. Let me just burnish all of these. Just take me a second to pull all of these off. And believe it or not, we're almost done with this project. Even though it looks complicated, it really is not. For those of you that are demonstrators, this would be a good class to teach. Okay, so now we're just going to bring all of the tabs to the inside to create the box. So you can see how easy this is. One more. Okay, so there's our square little box. Now that's where the little strips come into play. Those are all going to go on the side. And I actually folded them over so that you wouldn't see any of the spaces in between. And you know what? I just pushed everything aside and I just lost two of my strips. Whoops, wait a minute. This one needs to go down first. I cannot find the 2 strips that I just had. Okay, I'm gonna have to cut 2 more strips. So let me go 2 inches. And these are 3.5. I think I got flustered because my first strip was the wrong size. And I know what I did. I measured them all the same as the sides of this box. That's why my first one was a little short. Okay, I've got one more. So you can see what a nice finish this makes by overlapping the designer paper. This one I'm not concerned about because it's going to go towards the back of the box. Okay, so the inside has designer paper and all 4 sides. Now we need to add tear and tape. And this is going to be glued to the inside of the first part of the box we just did. So I'm using a lot of tear and tape tonight. I do have a lot of people that ask me, how do you know which glue to use? It's a matter of preference a lot of times. But like I said, on 3D projects, this is the way to go. Okay, so now let's bring this back in. So this is going to sit right in the center of the bottom. So there's what that looks like. This folds over the top. And then you're going to tie a bow to keep it closed. And then we're going to decorate the front or the top. Okay, so there's the bow. Now let me bring the flowers back in. So we'll finish up the box and then I'm going to do the little coordinating card to match. So now with the leaf punch, I believe I need 7 of these for both projects. I'm just going to cut them all out. So this is 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, let me bring this one back in so you can see how I did the top. Now I want my flowers to be a little raised, so I'm going to add 2 dimensionals on the back. And the reason, I forgot to mention, the reason I made these flowers, I'm a really anal matchy-matchy person. If you look at the designer paper that I used, you can see where there's the little flowers there that I just covered. I was trying to match those up because I didn't feel that adding these flowers matched this designer paper. And you guys can ask my husband how anal I am about everything matching. He can tell you. I know he was on here earlier. I'm not sure if he's still around, but I'm really anal about everything matching. Okay, so now I'm going to tuck this one. I want to make sure my sentiment is going to show up. So we're going to do one more flower. And this to me kind of looks vintagey, don't you guys think? Looks more like a vintage flower. Okay, there's my 3 flowers. Now I am going to use mini glue dots only because I traveled today and I forgot to unpack my liquid glue. So I'm going to tuck the leaves. There's one. So I'm just using mini glue dots. Okay, there's my 3 leaves. Now I'm going to, I don't know if you noticed on the front, I also have 1 flower that I actually folded in half to glue in the corner. So let me move. I'm going to make my bow a little smaller on the front. Okay, so we're going to glue a flower right there, but first I need to add the leaves. So I'm going to do 2 leaves on this one. And again, I'm going to use dimensionals. Now this one we want to fold so that it's going to sit right in the corner. So I'm actually going to add a dimensional on the bottom and on the top of where that's going to fold. So you can see one on each side. And I'm just going to fold the flower like that. And now you can see how it sits on there. So that's the box. How quick was that? And then all I need to do is trim my ribbon at an angle. And now let's work on the card. Now the card's going to be quick because it's just a couple things. Let me bring this one in. So I've got the 3x3 designer paper. And what I'm doing is I'm coordinating this panel right here. So I'm actually using the blue for the front. Okay, so there's my little mini card. And the coordinating sentiment. So that's going to go right there. And we're going to add a few leaves. Whoops, I'm covering one of the letters of my fabulous. I don't want to cover the fabulous. So there's my 2 leaves. Now this is the flower that I just made with you. It's still a little wet, so I'm going to see if it'll still glue down for you. I'm going to have to scrunch it up a little bit because I kind of flattened it out. Okay, so let me just pinch that. And then if you leave these alone to dry, they dry rock hard. So that's what's great about that. Okay, there's the matching little mini card. And lastly, we're going to add some designer paper to the flap of the envelope. So all I did was add some of the adhesive. I can't see my line with the camera sitting there. Okay, and all you do on that is just cut around with your scissors. It's always nice to get a card either in the mail or in person with a matching flap. So there's my envelope. So let me see if I can bring everything back in. So this is the one that I made with you guys tonight. And then this is the one that I made earlier. And my envelope is right here. And let me open this up so you can see what it looks like. So the only boo-boo that I had was this piece right here should be 4 inches long. And someone is asking if the card fits in the envelope. If you don't want to use an envelope, it fits in there nicely. But the envelope is, of course, is a little bit larger, so it could go in at an angle if you wanted to. So that's my project for tonight, everyone. So again, this is called a 3D fold over box and coordinating 3x3 inch mini card. I hope you liked my project and I hope you will give this a try. I would love to see pictures of your projects. Let me close this one so you can see the pretty flowers. So thanks so much for joining me tonight, everyone. And I will be back on, you know what, I don't have my calendar in front of me. I think I'm only on sometime next week. So have a good night, everyone. Thanks for joining me tonight.